This week's 1044 is brought to you by Chevron Delo 600 ADF Ultra Low Ash Diesel Engine Oil. It's time to kick some ash.
This week on the 1044, how a popular kid's toy and hobby could help spur interest in transportation.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the 1044, a weekly webisode from the editors here at CCJ. I'm Jason Cannon, and my co-host on the other side is Matt Cole. Trucking and logistics companies are always trying new things to attract the next generation to the industry, whether it's school programs or other initiatives that make the industry more attractive to young people.
While those initiatives have had success in bringing in the next generation of logistics professionals, there's still a sizable labor shortage in the industry for both drivers and warehouse and dock workers. I spoke with Thomas Geurts, a custom administrator for Arvado Supply Chain Solutions in the Netherlands, who is trying to use his Lego hobby to attract the next generation of logistics professionals. He designed a Lego set aimed at celebrating logistics, transport, and trucking, and is hoping it gets enough support to be made into an official Lego set.
I'm Thomas Geurts. I live in the Netherlands, and I work at Arvado, Supply Chain Management, as a customs administrator. So that's my field of employment, and I've done customs for a number of companies now at Arvado, and constantly in the warehouse, more in the office part of it. But it's an exciting role to be in. It's always moving, literally and figuratively. And I really like it. I've got two kids, Lynn, 6, Dex, 4. And of course, one very big hobby, besides the family, which is Lego. I used it as a kid, of course. It was my go-to toy. The first thing I did when I got a present was always shake the package, because then I could hear whether it was Lego or not. And when I was about 11 or 12, I grew out of it, because you're not a tough guy if you're playing with Legos at that age. And when my daughter was born, it started to be an itch I had to scratch. So I went to my parents' home and I picked up my old stash, and I put it down in the basement where I am now, and started to build a village from it. And slowly but surely, new packages came rolling in, and I scored some bricks in a bag from somewhere, and things grew out to what I've got here now.
In order for the project to be considered by LEGO to become an official set, it has to get at least 10,000 votes on the LEGO Ideas website. Each time the project hits a votes milestone, more time is added to give it a chance to hit the 10,000 votes. So far, it has nearly 2,000 supporters with more than 500 days left. But before we hear more from Thomas, let's hear from 1044 sponsor Chevron Lubricants. Protecting your diesel engine and its after-treatment system has traditionally been a double-edged sword. The same engine oil that is so essential to protecting your engine's internal parts is also responsible for 90% of the ash that is clogging up your DPF and upping your fuel and maintenance costs. Outdated industry thinking still sees a trade-off between engine and emission system protection, and Chevron was tired of it. So they spent a decade of R&D developing a no-compromise formulation. Chevron Lubricants developed a new ultra-low ash diesel engine oil that is specifically designed to combat DPF ash clogging. Delo 600 ADF with OmniMax technology cuts sulfate ash by a whopping 60%, which reduces the rate of DPF clogging and extends DPF service life by 2.5 times. And just think what you can do with all the MPGs you're going to add from cutting your number of regens. But Delo 600 ADF isn't just about after-treatment. It provides complete protection, extending drain intervals by preventing oil breakdown. Before, you had to choose between protecting your engine or your after-treatment system, and now you don't. 600 ADF from Delo with OmniMax technology, it's time to kick some ash.
I did some things before, but I wasn't as serious about it as I am this time. Some things to try out the principle and the working with the digital design program, and just getting a feel for it and seeing how things, what you should expect when you put a project on there. Because if it's something's new and it's just on there, you're always going to have a spike in the votes. And when the new is gone, then it dies down a bit. So I wanted to be prepared for that when I did my first more serious project, so to say. Basically, it's about submitting an idea So whatever you think is worth being brought out as a set for people to build, which can be anything in any size, you can design that either with real bricks or digitally. There's one main program studio which is used for that in general. Most of the time you try to make it attractive, not just to look at, but to use, to play with. And in my case, I try to make it so that there are enough things to interact with. So it's not only for the people who have a whole city, like I do, which is more than you would think, but also for kids. So you have places to walk, things to move, doors to open, stuff like that. And that is one of the reasons why for my build, I made it so that you can remove floors and remove a side wall so you can always get good access and really play around with it. And then when you've got your design ready, you can upload it basically to the IDEA's website. And they will have a quick look whether it's something they accept in general, so there's no violence or profanity or whatever, general guidelines. And the pictures have to be clear. And as soon as it's accepted, the voting starts. And you have a certain amount of time to get to 100 votes. And if you get there, you get extra time to get to 1,000 votes. And then you get extra time to get to 5,000 votes. And then we're talking about, I think it's almost 2 years then, by the time you have in total. And when you get to 5,000 votes, you get an extra half year to get to 10,000. So then all of a sudden you have to do it quickly. If you need it full time to get to 5,000, you're not going to make it to the 10,000. And should you be so lucky as to get to those 10,000 votes, which happens to about between 30 and 50 projects every quarter, LEGO is going to take a look at it, see if it's worthwhile making a set of it for them. And if you're really lucky, you're going to be one of 0 to 3 sets selected in that round, because that's about what happens. Sometimes they don't see anything they actually want to make, and sometimes it's up to 3 sets they actually.
In designing his set, which he called Transport Inc., Thomas wanted to create something that would be fun for kids and get them interested in logistics, specifically the warehousing sector.
A lot of transport-related sets have been made in the past, but it's more like a truck with a forklift, or a train with a truck next to it, or there's never been something warehousing, so to speak. So there's never been a place where you actually take the stuff to be unloaded and distribute from there, or where it can be stored, or an actual place the truck would go if it's in your city. So I thought, well, that is a missing link. So that would be a nice challenge to make something like that. And I limited myself to the amount of space I was allowed to use. So if it should become a set, it is affordable. And if you get it small, you can do a lot with it. So try to take all aspects. So the warehouse itself, which is the most important thing, but also the least interesting, since, more or less, it's an open space with a rack in it. That's it. But I really wanted to have that in there, and just enough space to move things around. And of course, an office where people come in and, you can't do without a canteen. So there had to be one of those. Without a coffee machine, we don't function. Oh, fun, a lot of fun, of course. And it's a bit twofold. On one hand, it's just a fun Lego set. Something I hope that people can use if they have a city, something they want to buy for their kids. And to an extent, I also hope it sparks a bit of enthusiasm for the sector as well. That kids see that the trucks don't just drive around on the road, they go somewhere as well. And they don't always go directly to a store to unload there. But there's something in between. And I hope that opens that up a bit and makes people enthusiastic in that way as well.
Thomas used his experience in logistics to design a full-on logistics hub, which is complete with a dock, warehouse, office, break room, and more.
I basically started out with a standard base plate, which was my size limit I gave myself. which is about 25 by 25 centimeters, 10 by 10 inches, something like that. 32 by 32 studs. I wanted some space in front so the truck could park there. Not all of the truck could park there because then the plate would be gone. But so it would, if it would fit up to a road, it wouldn't be all the way on the road. And then I started with the office because the office would have to be as small as possible, but still have detail in it. So I basically created as small as I could while still having a desk where people come in, at the desk in the back with an office space with a double monitor PC and some paintings on the walls. And basically how I'd like to see my workplace. And as soon as I had that, I had basically the footprint, because I now knew that everything outside of the office was the space I could use for the warehouse. And I built the warehouse floor from there, and I did some moving around with the pallet rack to see in which corner I could best put it. And I decided I wanted one complete wall to be removable because of its structures. It's pretty high, so if you have to reach over, it's not handy. So I wanted one wall to be removable, so that had to be empty. And I put it against the back wall. Took some tries to get a pallet rack that was sturdy enough as well as functional. And after that, I went on to the canteen, which is always a fun part. A little coffee machine, some papers on the table, etc. Then I did the vehicles. So I've got a hand pallet truck. There's a forklift in there, and the regular truck, which is unloading or loading.
That's it for this week's 1044. You can read more on ccjdigital.com, and as always, you can find the 1044 each week on CCJ's YouTube channel. If you've got questions, comments, criticisms, or feedback, please hit us up at 1044trucking@gmail.com or give us a call, 404-491-1380. Until next week, everybody stay safe.